Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimale here in Abuja. No time tonight because we have a lot of grounds to cover. But let me tell you what is being a major conversation and debate about the poverty level in Nigeria, the performance of those who are in public office, and what has happened in the past in Anambra State, what is going on in Nigeria, especially from the prism of the former governor of Anambra State and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. So it was Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos that came after him. He's criticized a former Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, in the 2023 general elections over what he now described as his disparaging comments about Nigeria. Mr. Sanwo-Olu took to the social media and X earlier today and accused Mr. Obi of making, quote, unflattering remarks about Nigeria and the administration of President Bola Tinubu. Speaking at an event at Johns Hopkins University in the U.S., Mr. Obi, and in a post on X on 25th of April, says that the failure of a nation depends largely on its political leadership, as the nations could achieve sustainable growth and development with competent, capable, and compassionate political leadership with integrity. Our attention is on the effect of the defection that we saw today, official defection we saw today in Delta State. Those who are describe it as a political hurricane. Where is it? Hurricane Tinubu, Hurricane APC? What does this have on the PDP? This is a major political event, and probably will be breaking it down for you to understand. And I have one person who has surrendered his leadership in Delta State to the governor of Delta State to speak with us on the program tonight. And whether or not we are entering into a one-party state in Nigeria and the effect of on our democracy, that gets our attention tonight. But before we get into all of that, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, says the political parties bill, when passed into law, will be a signature achievement for the 10th Assembly, just the way the Not Too Young to Run bill was for the 9th Assembly. The Speaker was represented by Honorable Ishaya Lalu at a technical workshop for members of the House Committee on Political Party Matters in Abuja. The political parties bill seeks to address issues of registration, regulation, and funding of political parties in Nigeria, functions many hopes will help to enhance the operations of political parties in the country. Lawmakers are hopeful of the impact of the political parties bill. Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State has distanced himself from reports circulating on social media, suggesting that he, alongside 4 other governors, were planning to defect from the All Progressives Congress APC to join a coalition allegedly being formed by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar in collaboration with other politicians. In a statement signed by his Chief Press Secretary, Hamid Idris, the governor described the reports as false. Ahead of the 2027 presidential election, the Association of Former Members of the All Nigerian People's Party in the All Progressives Congress are asking the party to allow them produce the successor to President Bola Tinubu. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the national coordinator of the association, Professor Vitalis Ajumbe, says 3 major political parties, Congress for Progressive Change, Action Congress of Nigeria, and All Nigerian People's Congress, birthed the ruling All Progressives Congress. The association insists that with the Congress for Progressive Change having produced President Muhammadu Buhari, while the Action Congress of Nigerian bloc produced President Tinubu, it is the turn of the All Nigerian People's Party bloc to produce the next president after President Tinubu. Meanwhile, the chieftain of the All Progressive Congress APC in Imo State, Mr. Uche Nwosu, has described as unfair the calls for a power shift to the north at the national level in 2027. The former chief of staff to the Imo State government, in an interview with newsmen in Abuja, urged both federal and state governments to focus on addressing root causes of insecurity across the country and warned the federal government against encouraging citizens to secure a license for firearms, saying it will further worsen the spate of insecurity in the country. And ahead of the Northeast Governors Forum holding in Damaturu, the Yobe State government has expressed readiness, assuring that all the major highways linking to the state are safe. The security advisor to Governor Mai Malam Buni, Brigadier General Dahiru Abdusalam, retired, disclosed this immediately after the state security meeting chaired by the Deputy Governor. Idi Barde Gubana. According to him, the state is still facing some security challenges along Demontribute Road, but that will not deter the government in carrying out its activities. Lastly, the federal government, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, has released its first zinc-enriched rice varieties to combat zinc deficiency and improve food and nutrition security. Speaking in Abuja, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Mr. Keyamo, knows that zinc deficiency is a significant public health issue in Nigeria, contributing to poor nutrition outcomes, especially among women and children.
If you like, depending on the weather you are having, wherever you may be watching tonight, it might be a cup of coffee, hot one, hot chocolate, or a cup of water. You need one tonight because this conversation will get you either coughing, laughing, or really sober, wherever you may be on the aisle of political belief. So today, what we saw in Delta State, in the PDP, led by Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and his predecessor, Senator Ifeanyi, when they officially dump the umbrella and to pick up the broom. They joined the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, dumping the People's Democratic Party that has been seen as a state that have governed that, a party that has governed that state from inception. At a ceremony by a huge crowd at the cenotaph in Asaba today, Governor Oborevwori, Senator Okowa, and others in the oil-rich state were received into the APC days after they announced their decision to leave the PDP. The defectors were officially received into the party by the chieftains of the ruling APC, including the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, the party's national chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, Governor Hope Uzodinma, who led the governors of the APC, and some other heavyweights within the APC, either in Delta or at the national level. Let me allow you to listen to the Vice President and the APC national chairman.
In the history of this country, a tsunami of this proportion had never happened. All the members of the upper chamber of the National Assembly are in the APC. The Speaker and all the members of the House of Assembly. So many members of the House of Representatives. The Governor and his entire cabinet and 500 councillors across the 25 local government areas of this great state. What testimony do you have greater than this? And the true measure of a political party lies not merely in the enthusiasm of its members, but in the conviction it inspires among those who once stood across from them. This vindication is even more fundamental when those who once saw us as outsiders and opponents cross the lines of difference to become part of the enduring family we have built. This historic day, therefore, is both a celebration of the enduring promise of the APC and a tribute to the vision, courage, and foresight of the great giants we have come to welcome into the fold of our political party.
I want to tell you that our core value in APC is progressive leadership. And coincidentally, from what we have seen on the ground in respect of your programs and your projects, you are a progressive governor. So we are welcoming you for coming home. You have rediscovered your root. So APC is your home. We thank you for that.
It was the biggest party. It was like Christmas for the APC. But what does it feel like for those who have dumped the umbrella, but it's rainy season? How will the broom save them from the waters, the rain waters? Listen to Senator Ifeanyi and Governor Oborevwori.
At the senatorial level, at the local government level, at the ward level. And we all decided that we must all join. We are not Bobone. Are you Bobone? This is data. Data cannot carry last. We have been in opposition for almost 10 years. Do we need that? Mr. President has supported us. He has shown us love. We cannot face him in 2027 to work against him. That love that he has shown to us in Delta State, we need to reciprocate it. We cannot do it in our own party. You have to be inside to do it, and to do it well.
It is in the best interest of our people. You know me. I've been with you for so long. I would rather sacrifice everything that is in me for the best interest of Delta. And that decision that our governor took, that we needed to move after consultation with the leaders of the party, which was cascaded down to the local governments and the world, is the best interest for our state. We must defend our state. Our state stands far beyond us. And I believe that this decision is in the best interest of all. It is time for us to embrace each other, our brothers and sisters that were already in APC.
All right, you heard from them. About, I think yesterday, right? Automatically, Governor Sharif has become the leader of the APC in Delta State. Who was the leader before now? Uncontestable. It was Festus Keyamo, the minister. But this was the video that surfaced. It went viral online, where the minister surrendered the leadership of the APC to Governor Sharif. Take a listen to Mr. Keyamo.
We welcome you unconditionally to the APC. It's a blessing to us, a blessing to the state, a blessing to Mr. President, a blessing to the good people of Delta State. That Delta State is not aligned with the ruling party at the center. So the synergy will be incredible. As our leader, undisputed leader, we need peace in Delta. Undisputed leader. We wholeheartedly surrender to your leadership and ask for directions at all times. Where you say we go. Where you say we go, we go. Where you say you don't go, we don't go. That is the state as it is today. Now, there's no division after today, sir. It's blended as one.
All right, my guest is already seated, and this is the man that you just heard now. Olorogun Festus Keyamo, well, some people know him as a double chief. Well, man, you know him as a Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean, for inviting me.
You were the organizer of the Christmas party today in Delta State. You orchestrated it.
Well, I'm just part of the whole party. Part of the very, very happy occasion that we had today. It was a very momentous occasion, and the significance is actually not lost on both parties, both major parties, the PDP and the APC. The PDP, they know that they have lost something like their soul. The answer was like the soul.
What do you mean by the soul?
If you know party politics, you will know that Delta was like the soul of PDP. They've lost their soul. Delta was one of the major funders of PDP. They've lost it. And this is one of the major boosts for the APC ahead of even 2027 and even beyond in terms of the growth and development of the party. So it's a major political seismic activity that took place today.
Is it a win for your party or a win for the Nigerian people?
It's a win for the people of Delta State, first of all, and a win for the Nigerian people as a whole. Because it's always important for a state to align with the politics or the government at the center. It's always important. Well, you may say that after politics, then it's all governance. But as human beings, sometimes this division between parties affect governance. So when you have a different party at a state level and then another one at the federal level, it always affects. You remember the case of the case of Lagos State at that time when the present president was governor, and then you have Obasanjo at the federal level, and all the quarrels and all the court cases back and forth. So sometimes it affects governance at that level. But for my state, Delta State, to be aligned with the center at this time, it's at this time especially of major economic, transformation going on in the country. It's a very, very momentous occasion that took place today.
Let me pause you for a moment and let's go on a break. But when we come back, is it a win for you Nigerian people, or is it a win for the political class who have welcomed themselves, embraced themselves, and the advantage of this is, ants have embraced ants, but then as an average person being left out in this drama. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Join us. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation with the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Oborevwori Keyamo. Thanks so much indeed. Let me begin by looking at it from the average Nigerian perspective, because all of the politicking does not amount to anything in the pocket of the average person. But in your mind, Minister, how do you interpret the mass defections that we saw today in Delta State, PDP into the APC, a state historically loyal to the PDP? Is this a genuine ideological shift or just a political opportunism?
Well, I don't know what you mean by political opportunism, because in politics all over the world, people play politics to win elections, to get access to power in order to implement their ideas. Yes, I'll be honest enough, to say that in Africa, the lines are blurred, between ideologies, whether left or right and all that. Yes, the lines are blurred. So I'll be honest enough to admit that. But however, people still play politics to win elections, and to win elections so that they have access to power in order to, effect their ideas. So if people therefore make such political decisions in order for them to have more advantage, I mean, you cannot criticize them for that. You cannot blame them for that. If people do that, if, for instance, in their calculations, they can, cooperate more with the federal government if they are in APC, and that cooperation will bring more development to the people of Delta State, and as a result of that development, or more of such development, they will win the hearts of people, Delta people, the more. I mean, that is a natural thing to do. So when people sit in their homes and complain about what political actors do, like I did before, in those days, when I was not in politics, fully in politics, then it doesn't make sense at all. Because you can't just bemoan your faith.
Your party, if it does still live the ideology that it was established for, it was supposed to be a left of the center. The PDP ideologically is supposed to be a conservative, a right of the center. Yeah. Your party is supposed to be a welfarist party.
But don't forget.
But how can a whole group of people who are right of the center move and embrace, and all of a sudden their political party that they've lived for over 16, almost 20 years, doesn't even they can't reckon with it any longer?
But I told you that the lines are blurred. So I wasn't. So
the APC and the PDP look alike now.
What I mean individually, I'm not talking of the party's ideology. The party's ideologies are there. They're clearly, separate. But in terms of individuals and the way they see governance and their approach to governance, the lines are blurred. For instance, there may be some governors within the APC that tend more towards the ideology of the PDP, but they are APC governors. And there are so many PDP governors who are progressive in nature and their approach to governance. And that, of course, is my leader and my governor, Sheriff Oborevwori. Go and see what he's doing in Delta State in terms of his approach to governance. He's a grassroots politician. He believes more in welfarist policies to benefit the people of Delta State. He has been extremely progressive in his ideas. It's one of the most hardworking governors I've ever seen in the history of Delta State up till today. And that is, driven by what he calls the more agenda. The more agenda is his agenda for development of Delta State. So since he came to office, the number of developmental projects he has been taking, if you look at that video, I said something on the lighter side when I was talking to him. I said, a couple of weeks back, I went back home, and on the way from the airport, I saw the massive projects he's undertaking, even up to in my village. Things we have been waiting for 40 years that not happened. Some major bridges he has been doing, first-class bridges. And I said, on a lighter note, I said, look, it will be difficult to defeat this man in 2027. No. I spoke to my brother, and I told him then, I said, well, this is a time for confession. Because I was praying at that point that I wish we had this type of progressive governor in my party. I didn't know it was coming. I really did not know it was coming. So having him in the APC now is just a round peg in a round hole. This is the natural home for somebody like Oborevwori.
You are one of the few who feel that governor of Delta State is performing. Absolutely. Senator Ned Nwoko does not believe so. In fact, he has cautioned that he should not bring old habits into the APC. He left the PDP because he has criticized Governor Oborevwori of poor performance, of a governor who doesn't listen, of a governor who is afraid of the enormous debt, of a governor who has abandoned his senatorial district, of a governor who doesn't listen to his political allies. So it does look like your perception or your prism of Governor Oborevwori is different from some of your colleagues in Delta State who think that he has not come to the table in terms of performance and delivery to the people of Delta State.
Well, at times, some political quarrels at times blow your vision. When it happens also in ordinary life, when you have an ego problem with someone, and you may not see the good in that person because you have an ego problem with the person. I'm not saying they have an ego problem, but sometimes, it is some political differences that made him also cross to the APC and left the PDP, some months ago. So some of these political differences at times also lead, to your blood vision. You may not be able to see the good in the person at all or what the person is doing. But now that we're all in the same boat, I mean, you saw him there yesterday, clapping and clapping. He was with me in the government house. All the 3 senators were with me in the government house, and major political leaders of Delta State also followed me to the government house. There's a pledge of loyalty to him. In fact, the only seat we won in the House of Representatives, he was also there with me. And of course, the party chairman and almost all, I repeat, almost all the members of the State Working Committee, they have also been with me in this decision to ensure that we liberalize the power base and the approach to politics in Delta State. And we were all, reunited in our decision to defer to him. So like I said, sometimes these things are not deep. Now that we're in the same boat, perhaps he will see better. Like I said, he was clapping for him yesterday. So I don't think we should dwell on all those things that were said in the heat of political quarrel.
Mr. Keyamo, I've known you for quite a while now. You've spoken truth to power.
Yes.
You've spoken the truth before the court. You've spoken the truth in front of the Nigerian people.
Correct.
Can you, for a fact, say that there is a genuine interest of the Nigerian people that made the PDP move into the APC today?
Absolutely 100%. It is absolutely 100%.
The opposition believe that your party...
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Let me tell you why. The opposition...
Let me tell you why. PDP had consistently won the majority in Delta, despite the fact that they were minority at some point. They were not the ruling party at the center. So it's a strong PDP state. At the point since we had access to federal power, we had never won Delta State. So there was no fear on their part. I can tell you, I mean, political leader like Okowa, very popular in Delta North. Sheriff Oborevwori, very popular in Delta Central. We lost in the governorship. Out of 25 local governments, we lost 3 or 4. They won, they swept about 21. Sheriff swept about 21. That was how popular it was in Delta State, despite the fact that we had federal power.
Are you saying this because you and Ovioma Agege are not on good terms?
I delivered my units for APC.
Are you saying that because you and Ovioma Agege are not on good terms?
No, we're on good terms. We just all this normal political bring back and forth, but we're all one family. I delivered my units.
But hold on. In
the governorship election, I delivered my units, my ward, and my local government. Guess what? Of the 4 local governments we won as APC for the governorship, and not the presidential governorship. My local government, Uwe, was one of them. I delivered. I and other leaders, we delivered Uwe. So the APC. So we denied PDP entry into Uwe when I was Minister of State Labor. So, I mean, that is aside, but I'm saying that PDP had been very popular. There was no reason for them to fear. that they will lose the next election because they'll be very extremely popular. All right? So I give credence, let them take their flowers. Especially, Governor Okowa, former Governor Okowa, Sheriff Oborevwori, I give them their flowers that this was a decision they took. And they took a political risk, but a risk for the betterment of the people of Delta State. You heard Governor Okowa today, he said, look, he will give his life for the betterment of Delta State. And that, look, despite the backlash that he expects, but he wants to do this for the people of Delta State. I mean, how much charitable can we be? So all of these suggestions at times are just pure nonsense.
All right,
when they say that there are ulterior motives for what they do.
And the accusation is that your party is hounding and threatening opposition voices and voices of dissent and pushing and beating them to shape just because of political gains.
It is a lazy way of the opposition party to bemoan their fate. Very lazy way. You know what? If they're even hounding you, if you understand the psychology of Nigerian people, that is when you win the hearts of Nigerian people the more. If anybody is hounding you, the Nigerian people naturally side with the weaker side of any battle, and they will pour out and vote for you. I'll give you an example. If people who understand the history of politics in this country, remember the case of Ondo State that time, Mimiko. Mimiko was in PDP. And Obasanjo deliberately in front of camera said he was not going to give him the ticket. People felt, they were just hounding Mimiko at that point. I'm giving you one of several examples. And guess what happened? Mimiko crossed to Zenith Labour Party or someone, away from PDP, a very unknown party. And the Ondo people voted for him against PDP because they felt this is oppression. Why would the president be hounding somebody like that? So this issue of hounding is not an excuse for the opposition
because,
party.
I mean,
it's a political.
The opposition has said, look, Mr. Keyamo, the opposition has said, look, when you are in trouble as opposition, if you run to the APC, you get caught.
No, it is even a political weapon for you to win power, for you to cry out that, look, you are being oppressed. For you to cry out that the ruling party wants to crush you, you will win sympathy of your people. You will hold on to power.
Let me ask
you. So it is not that at all.
And I'm very certain that you have heard that there are those who think that the reason for this defection is because the former governor, Senator Fanyokwa, has some issue with the EFCC.
Look, listen, almost all public officers, they have one issue or the other. And I have been a prosecutor for EFCC for more than a decade, before I was appointed minister. So all of this perception that once you just announce something by EFCC, the person is guilty, is completely hogwash. It's wrong. That once EFCC announces we are interrogating this person, and all of a sudden you think that person is guilty. In EFCC, I mean, in politically exposed cases, and cases involving politically exposed persons, we lost most, all the prosecutors, we lost most of them. Because sometimes the hype is more than the evidence in court. The hype in the press. Check the history of them. I'm being honest now to both sides, both accused and the prosecutors. Many of them are more hype than the actual evidence we produce in court because some of the cases we lost them despite all the hype in the press. So I'm speaking from a position of deep knowledge because I have been a prosecutor for the EFCC for more than 15 years. Other prosecutors will tell you the same thing. When we were surprised, when we all compared notes and we were surprised, why did we lose this case? Why did we lose that case? Well, we won some. Not all lawyers can win. Every lawyer must not win all his cases. We have lost many, we have won many, and many are still in court. That is, our record. But we lost many that were more, in the eyes of the people, the people were more guilty than the actual evidence we produce in court.
From what has been going on, and there are fears about those who monitor democratic and political scenario playing on in the country and who believe that, well, whatever is going on is that Nigeria is drifting towards a one-party state. And you are being a pro-democracy campaigner. Do you fear that this is exactly what is playing out?
Who should work hard for it not to be a one-party state?
You tell us.
No, I'm asking a rhetorical question.
No, I don't answer the question.
It is the opposition. So it's again back to lazy opposition. Will I deny people from coming into my party if they see the good works of Mr. President? With the kind of enhanced revenue that's accruing to the states now for purpose of development. Nobody has disputed. The governors have not disputed that. Even the opposition governors. Hold on. Let me tell you this. I've been avoiding politics because I've been, concentrating on governance. we are like the reserve army of Mr. President. When politics come, when campaign comes, Mr. President may call all his reserve armies like us. But presidential spokesmen are doing a fantastic job now in promoting the president, all the presidential spokesmen. But like I said, some of us and maybe Dele Alake, we are reserve army. when campaigns come, we will dust our books and come before the cameras. We are facing governance now. But let me tell you this, a snippet. Never in the history of Nigeria since 1999, or let's say since 1999, that governors have had more enhanced revenues as they have now for the sake of development. What engenders employment and, you know, monies in the pockets of poor and wipes out poverty more than the creation of employment? What creates employment more than infrastructure, the infrastructure that you are building across the country? And what enhances infrastructure you are building across the country more than increased revenue? And so the president has gotten the macroeconomics very correctly. This president has gotten it very correct by those two very bold decisions he took on the day he was sworn in as president. And no president has been bold enough to do that. But like I said, when we come to campaigns, we will address all these issues. For now, like I said, we'll be facing governance.
Mr. Keyamo,
but those are snippets. So I don't want to go deep into it.
You are a minister of aviation.
I will go sector by sector, by sector.
Mr. Keyamo,
but let me finish the issue of one-party state. At a point, this president was the only ACN governor. When PDP wiped out almost all the opposition by hook and crook, wiped out the opposition, stole elections, wrote results, and the president then, as governor of Lagos, was the only ACN governor. For the Gen Zs who don't understand history, they should know this. What did he do? Did he bemoan his fate? No. He rolled up his sleeves and got down to work. He did not cry wolf like they're crying now. And little by little, inch by inch, he began to roll back. He began to win states back, and until he stretched his hands across to other, opposition parties like the CPC and ANPP too, that were also working their socks off. And that is the APC you find today. So I will tell the opposition parties, get down to work. Don't blame the ruling party for people joining and say, yeah, you want to do one-party state. Are we the ones to blame? They are the ones to blame.
Even when it is said that your party is destroying the opposition by subtle and covert and overt actions and political activities.
Did you remember at that time, under PDP, when EFCC, without charge in court, without conviction, they just came up one morning and brought out list of opposition politicians and all that. They said they had EFC case, so they could not contest for elections, just to wipe them out. I mean, what can be more horrendous than that? What can be more brutal than that? Politically brutal than that? How? What can be? And what can be more brutal than a PDP government withholding allocation to a state like Lagos State for the purpose of crippling that state? What can be more brutal than that? Don't get me into a campaign mode. We'll get to campaign mode. But don't. My party, the APC, has been one of the best in terms of its approach to democratic ideals and governance. It has. They never muzzled opposition in any way.
Really?
How did we muzzle opposition? I'm telling you about the sins of PDP. Unfortunately, like I said, the younger ones now who are under 30, under 20, they don't know these things happened with PDP. They are saying that PDP is one kind of good opposition party. It is all these are the things that destroyed PDP in the hands of people, minds of people. Why is APCC standing? Because of democratic ideals. I'm talking of facts. When you want to counter me, you now bring. I'm talking. I can be here today and reel out 30 scenes.
Let me
of the
ask
PDP
you,
when they were in
Mr.
power
Keyamo,
at the center.
How do you, because your voice was not this refined those days. It was more husky and very loud on the streets of Lagos.
And that is why I used that voice to join the opposition there called the APC. Don't forget that some of us were not opportunists to say we joined ruling party. We fought our way into government. We joined
at the time you were not wearing fedora.
We joined opposition. Do you understand
Mr.
that?
Keyamo,
we joined opposition from the street and fought our way into government.
The question I'd like to ask you is whether or not you are able, you are capable, and you have the confidence to face the Nigerian people and say in almost 2 years, the government of the day has delivered based on these promises. In the indices of our economy, in the indices of governance delivery, in the indices that talks about the human capital development in Nigeria that this government today has delivered to the Nigerian people. The kind of suffering, the kind of pains, the kind of agony that average Nigerian people face, and the insecurity we see in some part of the country. Are you able to, in truth, face the Nigerian people and say, this is a better or a good government?
You know, I watch your program all the time, and this is already become a cliche for you. It's becoming, you know, it's a cliche. It's like a sing-song.
When Nigerians are suffering, we should not say it
it's
again.
like I said, it's a cliche.
When they are suffering, there's no two ways about it.
You know, it's a cliche.
When you have not eaten,
because when you sound
no
it over and over again without going down to understand
the man that is hungry,
the transformation.
For the man that is hungry, there's no better way to say that he's hungry.
It is the same thing people say since 1960 to whip up sentiments. People are hungry, people are dying, people are hungry. Headlines of 1970 said the same thing. But what we need to look at is, are we moving in the right direction? To fix decades of rot, I want to ask you, it's a rhetorical question because you are the interviewer today. Do you think really it's a matter of just like putting on a switch? Like a president is sworn in today, tomorrow he puts on a switch and it's wiped out, and then there's no much on there, then everything it's perfectly all right the next day. I mean, it's a rhetorical question. I'm asking the Nigerian people too. It is not. It's a process. So what you need to look at is that even if people are going through difficult times, are we on the right trajectory? That, I think, is the right campaign message. It's not whether after 1 year, we're not 2 years in office now, we're just almost 2 years, that everything is fine. I just gave you one indices, and one of the macroeconomic indices we have gotten right. In terms of government not pouring its earnings into subsidies that benefit only a few rich people. And the president has been bold enough to do this. So where has that money gone? That money that was saved from going to the pockets of rich people, it has gone back to states and local government at that level. And they are benefiting from roads now, bridges. People are being employed at that level because of this massive infrastructure development going on in so many states now. And I dare say this, after 24 hours after I leave here, I dare any governor of Nigeria, any governor, to come and counter me on this, that they don't have more revenues at their disposal now to carry out infrastructural developments. In my state, for example, I keep going back to my state and the great work Sheriff is doing. Sheriff is not borrowing a kobo, 1 kobo, to do all he's doing. He's doing it from his allocation, IGRO, and his federal allocation he gets every month. That is how good it is. Before, governors had to go and borrow to carry out such infrastructural development. So, like I said, Shehu, when we get to that curve, that curve of campaign, we are coming down. We just see oppositions running their mouths all the time now and all that. Some of us just say, okay, let's face governance. It's not time for campaigns. When that time comes, and like I said, when some of us who are the reserve army join the beautiful work that the spokesmen are doing now, the Nigerian people will get the picture clearer. Yeah, they will. Mr. Keyamo, they will.
I'm sorry that if you feel uncomfortable that we're talking about the pains and the hunger of Nigeria.
No, I'm not
just a moment.
I answered you.
Because just a moment, because the man that is hungry, there's no other name, no synonym to his hunger. His stomach is empty. The man that cannot pay his child's school fees, there is no other name to call it that he doesn't have money. The man that cannot be able to go to farm because bandits have chased them away from the farm, there's no other name that you can call it. Because it's easy and cozy in Abuja. People might feel uncomfortable because those of us who mirror the society and say the way it is, we look like stupid people. But yet we're not stupid. We've been around and we've seen how past government have also vilified us to say we talk too much. We say this is becoming this. The fact remains that Nigerians are hopeful that their lives will be better. And the question that I ask you, beyond this defection, is whether or not the Tinubu governor understand the pains of Nigeria.
Did you understand what I just explained now?
Food inflation, unemployment rate, all of it has grown astronomically over the last 2 years.
Did you understand the explanation I just gave now? Or you did not hear me?
I heard you clearly. You heard me clearly. I'm very sure that the Nigerian people heard it too.
Now, did they hear that I said they are governors? They are not president now. The president has given more money to their governors to solve some of these problems.
So they should meet their governors.
That is what governors are about. And the local government chairman. Is it federal government alone? The things that affect the people more are with the governors and local governments. Are you aware of that?
What about the indices of the economy?
When they say, for example, when they say more Nigerian children. I'll give you one example that has been repeated 100 times, people not knowing where the problem is coming from. They say, oh, more people, Nigerian students are out of school. That school you're talking about, primary school. Oh, and primary school is under what? Is under federal government. It's state and local government.
So you're asking Nigerian people to hold their governors accountable?
Of course, at that level,
I'm asking you, Minister
at that level. I'm telling you that
you are serving at the federal cabinet.
I'm telling you that we at the federal government, at the federal cabinet, our duty is to make the right policies that we cascade down in terms of to states and local government, and we shape the entire.
So you're saying that the Tinubu government is doing the best
in terms of economic policies to redefine our economic trajectory. It's got the best ever in the history of Nigeria. The best ever. Okay, I want to ask you a rhetorical question again.
The best.
A rhetorical question.
What? Who is judging that this is the best?
I mean, all the indicators around the world have said so. I mean, you are reading them too. This is not just a joke. I'm not saying this is as a joke. Most of the major economic indicators or, barometers in the world have said so that Nigeria is on the right trajectory.
The IMF
Google me.
And the World
Bank
is pessimistic about economic growth and the impact on the Nigerian people. The latest report I just said, whether or not this government can be able to meet up its aspiration and promises to the Nigerian people by 2027.
Those are projections. But I tell you, when the time comes around, you will see that we have done far better than people were. And I'll ask you something. Did this thing start in 2023? All of these things you read out, did they start in 2023? And I come back to the same question I keep asking. And like I say, I challenge anybody to a debate when we get to campaigns, whether we could have embarked on a better trajectory, economic trajectory than we are doing now. The president made a classic statement some time ago, and that is what is defining his approach to governance, that we ate our tomorrow. Yesterday, almost previously, a government yesterday, we ate our tomorrow, and that's what happened. But now is the time to get it right.
All right.
And we are getting it right.
It might be unfair, actually, to overjudge this government in just halfway done into what they promised. But the essence of a debate on the economy and performance of government is for the government to open its eyes wider, see things that they're probably not saying, and understand that the Nigerian people, we are the voice. And that's why we have
just to tell you that they are playing justice opposition. Just one word before you go on break. Everything the Tinubu government do in terms of removal of subsidy, floating, is the same thing the opposition said they would do during campaigns. It's now they are playing politics with it. They said the same thing. They will do the same thing. What have we done wrong?
When the time comes, because I don't want to engage you in an economic debate tonight, because today is not for it.
It's not for it.
But when you come with your fact and figure, I will borrow you a pen and I'll ask you to jot and write some things down. But today, we're talking about politics of Delta State. And I'm a bit worried about one factor, right? Where does this leave Senator Ovie Omoagege, who a lot of people think that he's actually the leader in the state, in Delta State?
No, I don't think we should personalize. It's such an important program. We should not bring, personal interest and differences here.
But we just showed
let me tell you why.
Let me tell you, Mr. Keyamo,
let me tell you
surrendering.
Yes.
Surrendering your leadership.
Yes, because it's all about the good of the people.
We're talking about structure, systems.
And guess what? The most profound thing I will say here today is that every single APC member in this country today should be concentrating on the re-election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, irrespective of whether it affects your personal interest or not, because he does need a second term to fully finish up all these reforms. It will be tragic for any government to come in 2027 and stop these reforms. This is what has happened in the past before, where you have all kinds of inchoate policies that were implemented. This is a very important economic transformative period that we are going through. Just hold on. And so, coming back to your question, whether it affects me as minister, whether I have to make sacrifice like I made yesterday with all the senators when we surrendered, it is irrelevant. So long as we are strengthening the APC more for the re-election of Mr. President, I don't care whether it affects me, I don't care whether I lose out politically, I don't care. Mr. President must be re-elected. That is what we do.
People on the inside, insiders, like Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed, who left and said that there is a lot of rot that is happening. and that people should not even look the way of President Tinubu for 2027. And there are a lot of northern elites who are saying they will never be able to look in that direction for 2020. How do you convince them? There's already an Erufa and Atiku Abubakar who are thinking of a coalition. Can the Tinubu structure and the APC be able to withstand this political tsunami coming?
There's no tsunami coming. I think it's a storm in a teacup. I respect these people. Let me just put in the context. I respect them so well. But if you look at the political history of Nigeria, those who have not... I have campaigned for 2 presidents now. I hope you know that. So I have fair knowledge of the demography. I was chief campaign, spokesman for the Buhari and also for Tinubu, back to back. So I understand the political demography. It's impossible for you to do a coalition now to unseat the present president.
Why?
You see, there are 2 different things. Are you talking of a merger or coalition?
Or alliance.
Or alliance. They should be very clear. If it's a merger, forget it, because it is too late to start a merger now. With the process you have to go through to do a merger, get a new identity and all that, and then elections are around the corner next year, end of next year.
APC started in 2013,
the moment,
no.
The moment the 2011, the talks to even get to that point, the discussions, it's not
they started since last year.
No, the moment...
The alliances and coalition talks.
The moment we lost the 2011 election, that moment, that same 2011, President Tinubu flew to Kaduna and met the general, Buhari, and said, look, we need to start working. So the discussions took a long time. We were part of the whole thing, took a long time. Back and forth. Then you have to call conventions on both sides for the conventions to adopt what you have decided and all of that. It's a long process. So these people are not experienced enough. The president you are seeing now, he has gone through all of this. So he's just smiling and looking at all of them. He understands. Secondly, any party you build around an individual has never won a national election since 1960. Let me take you through them. You know that. No matter how popular, no matter how the mass movement, you remember Chief Awolowo with all the mass movement and all that, MPN, UPN was built around him, even AD before then. That's why they before the action group, AG, AG action group was around him and all that. Of course, Awolowo was like our hero in Southwest and all that. With all the popularity, he could not win a national election. The same thing with Azikiwe, MPP. He could not win a national election. This thing also came recently to Peter Obi. The Labour Party was built about his, was called followership, the obedient movement, and all that. People should not think that, they say he was rigged.
This is new Nigeria.
Go back to
this different Nigeria.
No, but it's the same complexities. Nobody, if you build anything, Atiku wants to build something around and say wants to be the court, it's too late in the day. He cannot. It is only, that is why you can see, and give credit, let me give PDP their flowers. The 2 biggest parties in Nigeria, and the major competitors we have, is PDP. Because this and AS, and hold on, and the APC. No, I'm talking of national elections. And the APC. They are the 2 major parties that you can see that they are not built around anybody. They're not. Up until APC came together, the pacification of ACN was the president at that time. He was leader of the ACN. And of course, the pacification of CPC was Buhari at that time. Both of them tried their separate ways. In 2011, remember, we had Ribado as our candidate, Buhari here, and we all divided votes. It was when we came together and there was no personality built, nobody, the party was not built around anybody. That was when they won national elections. So I'm just telling the young ones not to waste their time. When they don't know the history of Nigeria,
is not moved by what is going on.
We are all, well, I mean, it's a party as a whole.
Are you hearing about the quiet move?
Listen.
And the aggregation of the young Nigerian minds who are coming together quietly.
To what, under what platform? You must do a platform. You must have a platform. You see what, you know what made us survive?
Isn't that what they said about Labour Party?
You know see what you survived in 2023? Is because despite the storm of Labour Party and the obedient movement and all that, the structures of the APC held firm. It was the structures that took us across the bridge. Despite the Naira redesign policy that was against our party at that time and all kinds of the petroleum scarcity, all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, it was like a house built on solid rock. There was a bit of, some of the roofs were left, we lost some votes here and there, like a storm that, that would blow a house. Some of the windows fell off, but the foundation It was the structures of the APC that took us across. So when people should, please, they should not say 2027 we rig election again, no. They are saying that the structures are coalescing. In fact, who is doing coalition? It is we. It's not that the coalition is actually taking place in the APC. You can see people are coming into the party. The structures are getting.
People are also leaving.
People, where, who, how? So
El-Rufai left.
Well, like I said, I respect him.
Some CBC
I respect him, but we have Kaduna as part of our structure. Kaduna is structure. Is structure.
Are you worried as a politician about what is happening in the north? The northern elite, there is an informed northern elite who are angry about the status quo.
I think people are blowing this beyond. Tinubu has more friends in the north than even the southwest. And they will come true for him. They will come true for him. Do you realize that the last elections, even at the primaries of the APC, the northern friends came true for the president more than anybody? It's northern friends, the Gandujes of this world, the Shetimas of this world, and all of them, most of the governors, the Bagudus, the Badaru, they all came true for him. They came true for him. So
there's no shaking.
This whole thing is...
Let me tell you.
That's what you said. Let me tell you. People are using the word east, west. No, because I don't want to just call one region. They are just using them for their personal gains. There's nothing like a unified north against somebody or unified south against anybody.
Minister Keyamo.
Do you understand me? There's nothing like that.
Keyamo, I like us to anchor on your ministry, interestingly, the aviation ministry.
I wanted to just say something more, because you are getting me worked up with political discussions now. I almost forget I'm an aviation minister.
What was it you wanted to say?
Because, like I said, some of these people who came out and said, CPC, they are not they will decide where to support their CPC. They are what they call butterflies who think they are birds. When a butterfly thinks it's a bird. Who is a CPC? Who is your CPC? The CPC was Buhari.
And Buhari is already meeting with Atiku.
No, Buhari had come out with a statement saying, my party is APC. Now, if you are really a follower of Buhari, if you claim to be a CPC man, the leader of that party, at that time, has said, my party is APC, I support the president. Who are you? That's why I said they are like butterflies who think they are birds. Buhari carried everybody on his back in the 2015-2019 elections. Let me tell you that. Some people who could not win anything in the north, they just flaunted the name of Buhari. They just carried and crossed the line, an election. So when a Buhari, who is the sole specification and everything that was CPC, has said he's supporting APC. Who do you think? Who has the right to now say he wants to use CPC name to negotiate? You think the president is not more politically savvy than that? You want to use CPC to negotiate your way to power?
We're out of time. It's going to be it won't be unfair. It will be unfair for me not to talk about the Nimet matter before you go. And those who are worried.
Well, we have resolved it. I have resolved it.
Temporarily.
Temporarily, because I had to.
But why did he have to get to that point? Yeah, before you step in. This is a matter of safety.
No. Sometimes you must, as a minister, give your CEOs the powers to do as much as they can. So, I gave my CEO, the DG of NIMED, said, look, resolve this as much as you can. And then, of course, when the thing snapped at a stage, you can see that it took less than 24 hours. Because I drew from my knowledge of, not even before then, in civil society and labor relations, I had it. And then I drew from my strength as Minister of Labor, my knowledge. And then, of course, I'm part of them.
They are talking about demands 25 to 35% salary increase, 40% hardship allowance. Is it possible? Is it plausible?
We even paid the 40%. We paid something now to them immediately. I ordered it immediately. For the other bigger demands that we need the attention of Mr. President, I've also written to Mr. President now to intervene.
There are worries about safety in our airspace.
But I resolved it under 24 hours. Under 24 hours, I resolved it.
The air is safe
100%.
for Nigerians to fly.
I mean, one of the safest in Africa. Have you seen incidents all over in America almost every week? And what incidents have you seen here? We will have one of the safest skies in Africa.
We need to have time to talk about aviation, Mr. Keyamo.
We'll come here.
Olorogun Festus Keyamo, former senior advocate.
No.
Former Apologies. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, former practicing lawyer.
No, still.
And a former rights activist.
No, I'm still a rights activist in aviation.
Thank you so much. Olusegun Festus Keyamo, Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, for talking to us tonight on the program. And I wish you and your party, if you are able to win in 2027, the very best. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.